All right, it is time to skol with the enemy Philly style. All right, it's that time of the week. I'm Onebar with Lupagus, and more importantly, special guest skOL'ing with the enemy, Joe Castro from the Philly podcast. No stranger to the show. This is like a third timer.
This is like our annual thing, right?
Yeah, because we get the Eagles every damn year on prime time, which sucks.
They're always there too.
Yeah, it's not great, but hopefully by the end of this, hopefully either just make us feel better about ourselves or just completely dash our dreams so our expectations are so freaking low.
I'm hoping for the latter.
We can't feel much worse after losing the Bucks.
It can only get better. Joe's links will be down in the description. Be sure to give him a sub. Fantastic channel over there. But let's get into it. Week 1 is in the books. Eagles squeak out a win against the Patriots. What was your biggest takeaway after week 1?
The Eagles need to start playing some guys in the preseason. It felt like it was just a really rusty game. It was, the Patriots had 5 months to get ready for it, and it looked like they took every single day to get ready for it. I'm not taking anything away from the Patriots, but the Eagles just weren't ready. It looked like, obviously we have a new OC, we have a new DC, we got some new guys in key positions, especially on the defense. So it looked like that. It really looked like that. Like you said, we were able to kind of sneak it out, squeeze out a win. But I don't think any Eagles fans are really happy with that. When a win is a win, but we have bigger aspirations than winning in the regular season. So that kind of got us a little nervous. Hopefully we rebound this week against the Vikings, though.
Yeah, we definitely had some rust on us as well. Offense just wasn't looking very smooth for the majority of the game. But anyway, so Nakobe Dean is out. James Bradbury's dinged up. Are those guys definitely not playing this week? And anybody else on the team that hurt? Maybe some of those big boys on D-line maybe are hurting, please?
They are. Yeah, so we do actually have a couple of injuries that are worrisome. I'm not going to lie. Like you said, Bradbury had a busted lip. He is in concussion protocol, so it's very unlikely. I'm saying very unlikely when I know darn well it's probably not going to happen, but just trying to keep my hopes up, right? But no, Bradbury's most likely not going to be playing Thursday. We have undrafted second-year player, Josh Jobe out of Alabama. I want to say, don't quote me. I'm pretty sure it's Alabama.
Yeah.
Good player, young guy. He's lengthy. He's pretty physical. So we're hoping the best. Nakobe Dean is looking to miss 2 or 3 weeks at the best. That's probably best case scenario. He's in a walking boot. Fletcher Cox, I'm sure a guy that, Vikings fans are no stranger of. He had an MRI on his ribs. So no word on whether he's a go. He did not practice. We had a walkthrough, and in their estimation, how they do the estimation of the walkthrough, he didn't practice. He was not part of it. So he could not be going. Kenny Gainwell, our running back, he was the lead back last week. He looks like he's dinged up. Again, a rib injury. He didn't practice. So we have some guys that are definitely banged up. Reed Blankenship, our safety, didn't practice. The only 2 people that I'm, definitely probably saying aren't going to play are going to be Nakobe and James Bradbury, but there are a lot of dinged up guys on this roster right now.
Yeah, it would probably be smart to rest Fletcher Cox on a short week. I think it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe Jalen too, right? Why not?
Yeah.
We'll take anything we can get at this point. Absolutely. And you mentioned the defensive line a handful of times already, but what can we expect? I mean, the Vikings' interior offensive line is just a disaster. Going against your defensive line is absolutely horrifying. All those guys you got. I mean, give us the scoop. How do they rotate these guys? What can we expect? Is it going to be just a damn mess?
Well, Fletcher Cox honestly played a lot more snaps than I think any Eagles fan or Eagles, reporter or anybody really was expecting. We do expect a big rotation. Jalen Carter went out there and put on a show. Jalen Carter, I think, earned more reps. He had, I believe, 8 pressures in his debut in his first game in the NFL. So I believe that's a record for like the last 4 or 5 years for any rookie in any game, not just the debut. So he's a guy that we're definitely have high hopes for. And I'm hoping as a guy that watches the team that they are going to give him more reps, especially over Fletch. Fletch is great. Don't get me wrong, but he's getting up there in age. We saw after, I think he had about a little bit over 50% of the snaps. His body probably can't handle it anymore. So we expect to see a lot more Jalen Carter. A guy that we do expect to see a lot more of is Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith only had 7 snaps in the first game. So that's something that we're hoping to change. But yeah, I mean, look, our defensive line has always been our bread and butter, always what we go into games knowing we're going to flex. I think this lines up perfectly for the Eagles because we need to kind of flex that defensive line, flex, and get that defense a little bit confident. You guys are weak on the interior, so we're looking to take advantage of that. So you're probably going to see a lot of Jalen Carter. Milton Williams is another guy that has come on this past couple of weeks, last year. And then now he had a really good game one. So Milton Williams, Jordan Davis went absolutely crazy in his first game. Some of our highest ranked players as far as PFF goes. So the defensive line is there. I want to make you feel a little bit better, but
you're not doing it at all.
Hey, if you're ever having a bad day or just down in the dumps, do you ever just pull up your draft class from last year and just stare at it and get happy?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Ridiculous.
It was one of those, and luckily, God bless, I was able to be at the draft. I worked the draft and everything. So when we drafted Jalen Carter, I was in there waiting for him to come, to do the interview and everything. I was like, oh, I can't believe this is. It didn't feel real until I saw him in the Eagles hat myself, because it was like, how did they pull this off? But yeah, it was an amazing.
The whole damn draft class.
Well, then you got Nolan Smith at 30. It was insane.
Eli Ricks as an undrafted guy. I mean, we definitely got lucky this year.
You did. All right. And maybe, I know it's only week one, but maybe where are you expecting the Eagles to be better this year than they were last year?
That's actually tough. Honestly, I think that the Eagles are going to it might not be a huge noticeable drop off in areas, but I think that there is going to be a drop off in most areas. I think what we did last year, especially offensively, is going to be hard to replicate. You had 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards. Where I think we will get better is slowing the game down when we need to. Last year you saw a lot of first half domination, and then the second half it's kind of you're fighting and clawing for 5 yards here and there. You let a lot of teams in the game last year in the second half because you weren't necessarily scoring. You were just kind of trying to slow it down. That's what I think we're going to get better at. Just being it. We have 5 or 6 different running backs at this point. I think that's going to be the main focus, is getting the ball, even though we didn't see that too much in the first game, getting the ball out of Jalen's hands as far as a runner and utilizing these running backs. So I think game one might not have been the best example of that. I don't know what they were doing, but I think that this game, you'll see that a lot more. Us just trying to slow the ball down, utilize this run game, especially in the second half, where I feel like we can get a lead on some guys and really start putting the game away.
All right, give us your weakest link. Give us some hope here. Where can the Vikings take advantage? Where the Eagles a little thin?
I am terrified of your offense. If I'm being 100% honest with you guys, I really am. This defense didn't look like we wanted it to look, especially over the middle. And you guys are pretty good. Tight end, have some good wide receivers. You guys can attack us exactly where we're weak, which is over the middle. Our safeties are not. Justin Evans is not good. Reed Blankenship is good. Justin Evans is not good. He was caught out of place a lot of times. And I'll say this, who did we go against? Mac Jones was literally throwing all of our linebackers and safeties off with their eyes. Mac Jones, to me, is not as good of a quarterback as Kirk Cousins is. I know we can all talk the junk we want, but Kirk Cousins is going to have a field day if our linebackers and our safeties can't get it together, especially in coverage.
Now I'm feeling a little bit better. The D-line talk got me feeling bad. Now I'm feeling good.
We should just wrap this up right now on a high note, huh?
Well, you just mentioned the backfield a little bit ago. You guys got all kinds of horses back there. You got Gainwell, you got Swift, Penny, Scott. Is this going to be a constant rotation, or is someone going to emerge as a lead horse here?
First week we gave it to Kenny a lot. Kenny G had led the team like it wasn't even close. DeAndre Swift only had 1 carry. I think I stand with all Eagles fans when I say I hope that you're going to see way more of a rotation. What we saw as far as our running game in the first game is not what we want. That is definitely not what we want. So I assume that at some point DeAndre Swift is going to take over. I think they're trying to be a little bit safe. We didn't activate Rashad Penny last game, so I assume that's going to happen this week. I don't think they'll ever realistically, unless Kenny G really just they keep on hammering that nail and say, we're going to make him the guy. I don't think that any of these guys really are going to be that lead guy. I think it's going to be per game. Like this guy gives us the best chance against this team. This guy gives us the best chance against that team, because they're all so different. So it might be a cop out, but I really don't see a number 1 running back here. Now, there might be a trade coming. I do think that is something down the line that's going to happen, but not this week, at least. You guys are going to deal with what we have.
Are you gonna see you guys are getting Jonathan Taylor? Is that what you're saying?
I think I think at some point that might happen,
Oh
unless
my God.
something crazy happens over this next week or two that the running game just looks immaculate. I think that it's something that the Eagles would really consider. I have talked to people. I've talked to his trainer and everything, and his agent. I spoke to his agent. They have spoken to the Eagles, so I think that it's something that could happen. Obviously, he's on the pup, but I think the Eagles have done it before, right? You look at the 2017 season with Jay Ajayi, maybe definitely not, right? Definitely not the same type of player. Jonathan Taylor's a echelon above, but I think the Eagles would be willing to give up a pretty good draft pick for a rental in order to win a Super Bowl. So I think it's something that could happen.
Wow.
Well, let's talk offense from your week one. I mean, on paper, it looks like there wasn't much going on there. Was it play calling? Was it the fact they didn't have to do much? But what was going on with the offense?
Yeah, I think play calling. I think play calling was a big part of it, and I think also what you said with you didn't really have to do much. I think that went with the beginning, right? You go in there and you get a pick six pretty quick. Your defense is kind of dominating, so you go out there, and I think they try to get too cute, and we saw that on the defense as well. A lot of once you got a little bit of a lead, they try to get a little too cute and they try to do things that, just keep plays in front of them. And you can't do that in the National Football League. You can't just say, we'll give you 20 yards. Like that's just not going to work in the National Football League. And Mac Jones went crazy. So, it kind of put our offense on call. Like they had to start throwing that ball. They felt the pressure, even though we were never down. It always felt pressure, like these guys are right there. So I do think that the play calling was a little bit flustered, a little bit all over the place. And that comes with Brian Johnson. This was his first game. And something that a lot of Eagles fans are talking about, which I didn't think of, but we could have been looking forward to you guys. And I think that's really what it is. So I'm hoping and I'm assuming that Thursday we have a pretty good game plan as far as the offense goes going against the Vikings, because on paper and coming into the season, I think everybody would say the Vikings are a better team than the Patriots. So it could be us just kind of looking forward a little bit too much, got caught in the butt. And, it was a lot of things. Even that Bill Belichick defense was just never really saw him do a bunch of the stuff he did. He was sending like 7, keeping 3 back. Like he was doing so many weird things. It wasn't, usually you blitz and you play man. He was playing zone and blitzing, like all out blitzes with zone. And it's like, where did this come from? You had a whole new, offensive line the day before, all new running back. Like, just so many things. The same Patriots that we saw 3 days before the game was not the Patriots we played. So it was just a mishmash of a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, long story short, I think Brian Johnson definitely needs to step it up as a play caller.
All right, Joe, let's say you get a call. Also, you're the head coach of the Eagles. You have personnel decisions, the whole entire lineup. Who are you taking off the field, current starter right now, and replacing?
Oh, Justin Evans. I'm taking Justin Evans off. Now, I would assume Sidney Brown would slide in there if you're looking at on our roster, or maybe a Terrell Edmonds. But the answer might not be on this roster, because obviously he beat them out in the preseason, which I'm kind of surprised about seeing him play. So Justin Evans right now is definitely the weakest link in this defense, and I don't think it's really that close.
Well, let's hope we see a shit ton of him on Thursday night. That sounds fantastic. Where's this Eagles team at? Is it Super Bowl or bust?
Yeah. I think that's exactly where we are. I've been saying it all off season. I will be very upset if we don't at least get to the NFC Championship again. But I do think if you don't win a Super Bowl this year, you got a lot of questions to answer depending on how your season goes. But yeah, this is, and that's why I think trades are on the table. This is an all-in season. You have your wide receivers, you have your quarterback of the future, you have a lot of defensive players. This is it. This is definitely it. It's time for the Birds to go get that ring number 2.
All right. Well, before you get ring number 2, how do you see this game on Thursday shaking out? Our dangerous attack against some of your defense against our shitty interior line and your D line.
True.
I want to sit here and say we're going to go out there and make up for our mistakes and, look great on Thursday night. But I really do think that it's going to be a tough one. I think that you guys are going to give us everything you got, especially on offense. And I think you guys are pissed. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Eagles fans have been talking about what Darius Slay did to Justin Jefferson. I'm sure Justin Jefferson is not forgetting that. I'm sure he's seeing all the tweets. I'm sure he's ready to come out there and shut us up. And Darius Slay didn't look great game one. So he's susceptible. He's out, nobody looked amazing. So I think it's going to be a very good game. And I think the best way we win is if it becomes a defensive game, right? So I'm thinking low scoring game, especially early. I'm hoping by the second half, this offense kind of just starts kicking it into gear. And we're able to at least win. I'm thinking like 7-10 points. We can end this game winning by.
There you have it. Joe Castro, Philly, the podcast. Links down in the description. Give them a sub. Go over there, talk some shit in the comments. Yeah. They got a fantastic channel. Joe, appreciate it, man. Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys. God bless, man.
All right, take care.